Hi, I'm Bonnie Barker with BonnieBayCrochet.com, and today we're going to learn how to make a granny square slipper. Okay, this is a slipper made with one big granny square on the bottom of 6 rounds and 3 smaller 3-round granny squares. One for the toe area, one for the opening where you put your foot in, and one for the heel, like so. Okay, this is going to be a really fun project, especially if you've never done granny squares before. I'm going to do this in 2 videos. One where I'm going to demonstrate how to make a granny square, and then video number 2 is going to be about how to put this thing together. The construction can be a little tricky, but again, not hard. You just need some instructions as to how to do it, and we'll get you going. But let's go ahead and start with how to make a granny square. Some of the materials that I'm using include Lily Sugar and Cream. I'm using 100% cotton worsted weight yarn, and I am actually using a lot of remnants of what I had in my yarn stash. I didn't go out and buy anything new. If you don't have cotton available, feel free to use worsted weight acrylic. It works very well too. One thing I like about the cotton, the pro to the cotton is it tends to be longer lasting. It doesn't wear out as fast, especially when you're wearing them a lot. The downside to cotton is it's not as elastic as acrylic can be, so it loses some of its stretch back ability over time. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start. Also, I'm using a size H crochet hook. If you want your slippers to be smaller, simply use a smaller hook. If you want them to be larger, go ahead and bump up to the next size, maybe an I or even a J if you're looking for really big feet to fit. Using a size H, I found that this actually fits very well over sizes, let's say 7 to 11, kind of like your standard sock size, and they do fit rather roomily, so keep that in mind. If you want to go ahead and start with the smaller hook, go ahead. All right, so I'm going to start by using a slip knot, like so, and I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I know this yarn's a little dark, but try to bear with me here. Okay, now I'm going to make a slip stitch in the first chain. I'm going to make a little loop by doing so. I'm going to do a slip stitch. Now I have a very small ring. I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to work. All the stitches that I do is going to be going right through the middle, right into the donut hole, so to speak. Okay, I'm going to do 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets. Now I'm going to chain 2 for a corner. Actually, before I go any further, let me show you what we're doing here. Our goal right now, we're working on this blue part. Okay, that's what we're shooting for. Sometimes it's good to have a vision. And let me show you something else I'm doing. See this little extra strand? I am actually working that around the outside, and I'm going to work around that with my hook. So I'm hiding this string as well. After we chain 2, we're going to double crochet 3 times. The 3, yeah. And let me show you something else. When we began, we started with the chain. The chain actually counts as a double crochet in what we're doing here. And then 1, 2. So this actually is like a 3 cluster. Now we're going to chain 2. 1, 2. And we're going to do 3 more double crochets. Again, working through the center loop. And I'm also working around that extra strand, so I don't have to work at hiding it later on. There'll be plenty of strands to hide. And if we can eliminate 1 or 2, I would go ahead and do it. Now we're going to chain 2 one more time, and 3 more double crochets, working right into the center, just like so. I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to slip stitch in the top of the chain 3, and I am actually going through 2 loops, two strands of that chain, and do a slip stitch. Now I'm going to finish off. I'm going to pull a strand like so, get my sharp scissors, cut. It's not so important to leave a really long strand if you're going to be hiding these by crocheting over them. So now we're done with the beginning part. Okay, so let's go ahead and this strand that we crocheted around, I'm going to go ahead and clip that. Make sure you don't cut your stitches. Okay, that's gone forever. Yay. Now, switching colors is not all that difficult. Okay, and we're going to do this the same way each time. I'm going to take some of my remnants here of what I have on yellow, and I'm going to join it. You don't have to join it exactly where you left off. You can join it in any of these corners. I'm just going to go ahead and join it in this corner. I'm going to join using a slip stitch. Okay, I'm going to pull both of those strands through, pull it nice and tight. I'm going to chain 3. That's 1, 2, 3. This cotton is a little trickier to use, but it's good though. It's a little stiffer. I'm going to do 2 double crochets. Notice that whenever we join, that chain 3 always counts as a double crochet. That counts as 1 and then 2, 3. Now I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, and let me show you my square that's completed and show you what we're going to do. We're going to, in each corner here, we're going to do 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet all the way around. Now in between these two, we're going to only chain 1. That's all you need to do. Otherwise, you end up with more fabric than you really need. Okay, so let's continue. So working in the same place as you did the first 3, well, essentially 3 stitches, we're going to do 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And notice that I crocheted over this strand. So let's go ahead and let's trim that because we're going to get rid of that right away. Don't need any extra strands to confuse us. Okay, now I'm going to chain 1, and before I go into this corner, I'm going to bring this little strand right over there so I crochet on top of it and hide it as well. Now we're going to do 3 double crochets. That's 2, 3. We're going to chain 2. Again, whenever you make a corner, it's always done the same. 3 double crochet, chain 2, and then 3 double crochets in the same place. You really do have to pay attention to where you are when you're making granny squares, because if you kind of go by a corner really fast, it's easy to miss a corner, and then you have to go back and rip out. I'm going to go ahead and trim this very carefully. Make sure I don't cut my stitches. Okay, now we're going to do another corner here, but let's go ahead and chain 1, and then in the corner 3 double crochets, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, and then 3 more double crochets in the same place. So this round is all corners. The other rounds coming up will not be all corners. Chain 1 in the last corner. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, and then 3 more in that same place. 1, these are double crochets, 2, 3. Now we're going to join. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to join to the top of that chain 3 like so with a slip stitch, and we're going to finish off. I'm going to pull it tight, clip the yarn, make sure you don't clip your finger, pull it tight again. So now we've got 2 rounds. Okay, now let me show you where we're going now. Now we're going to do the 3rd round, which is the red around here. Okay, also notice that the front side of all the double crochets is facing, and that's kind of nice. You can have a project where you have the front side of the double crochet. I really like the way that looks. Okay, now let me get my red yarn. I'm going to start in this corner here. Again, it doesn't matter where you start. Okay, I'm going to start in this corner. I always like to start next to where this strand is so that I can be vigilant to hide it as fast as possible. Okay, so we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to make a corner, which is 2 more double crochets to start. I'm going to try to scoot it over there. Chain 2, and notice I am working over this strand to hide it. Okay, let's go ahead and trim that while we can, nice and carefully. Give it a little tug and hide that. Now we're going to chain 1. Now this one, I'm going to put the extra strand going this direction. Now notice this is not a corner. So all we're going to do is we're going to chain 1 like I've already done, and we're going to do 3 double crochets in this space like so. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to chain 1 again. I'm sorry about that. Getting some more yarn. Now we have a corner. Okay, so whenever you get to a corner, you always make another corner. 3 double crochets. Chain 2. And 3 double crochets. This is kind of a nice project. The first project I ever did as a child when I was 7 years old was actually doing a granny square for an afghan. Now you could continue this with, let's say, all your extra yarn that you don't need for something else if you choose, and you can just keep going round and around and around until it fits, makes into a bedspread or a throw for your bed or your couch. Very popular thing to do back in the 70s when I started doing this. Okay, now we're to the middle. We're not at a corner, so we just do 3 double crochets. I will say it did take me a couple years to finish when I did that. Okay, chain 1. Now we're to another corner, so we're going to make a corner. I'm reminding you again, make sure you put the 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. I cannot tell you how many times I've had to rip out because I just put just simply 3 double crochets in a corner, and then wondering what happened, and then have to go back and redo. Okay, now remember there's a chain 1 once you get to these sections that are not corners. The chain 2 only applies to the corner. Everywhere else there should be a chain 1 in between the clusters, if that makes sense. Okay, chain 1. I'm coming around to our last corner. Make sure we do 3 double crochets, chain 2, double crochets. If you're brand new to crocheting and you need more instruction on the double crochet, I do have instructional videos that deal with individual stitches, and you can look under my beginner corner for that on my YouTube channel. Okay, now we're chain 1. I'm gonna 3 double crochets, and chain 1, and then I'm going to join with the slip stitch in the top, just like so. I'm going to leave a nice longer strand for this one because I'm not going to trim this strand until I'm actually constructing the footies. Okay, so let me go ahead and I'm going to trim this one. Okay, so there you have it. That is a 3-row or a 3-round granny square. Now in order to make the footies, you're going to need to make 6 of these because each footy takes 3. Okay, so go ahead if you want to practice on that, but I am going to go forward right now and I am going to show you how to change this into a 6-round granny square. You're going to need 2 of the 6-round granny square for this project. So let me go ahead and pull off some more yarn, and this is going to be round 4, and it's the same way that we've done the other 3. Well, the last round is more similar to this. It's just that you're going to have more spaces to do the 3 stitch clusters. Okay, so let me go ahead and get started. We're going to join with the slip stitch. You're going to be really good at joining yarns with slip stitches when this project is through. And chain 3, Okay, so I did my 2 double crochets again with my chain 3, which serves as 1, and I am constantly crocheting over these strands so they are much easier to get rid of, and that also makes them secure. They're not going to go anywhere. Go ahead and clip that. Okay, chain 1, double crochet in the next, chain 1 space, chain 1. Now here's the strand. I'm going to pull it over towards the right. If you're watching the left-hand version, it'd be towards your left. Okay. Now, as I'm doing this, I wanted to show you and let you know that maybe you don't want, to change colors every round, and you just want to, crochet straight up without having to stop and go so much. It is possible to do that. I actually have another video that shows you exactly how to do that. So if you want to just make these a solid color, feel free to do that, and check out my video on my YouTube channel that'll show you how to do that. It's much easier. You just join and then you chain 3, and I will show you exactly what you do with that. Let's go ahead and take care of that. Okay, so notice I just came to a corner when I did the 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. I'm going to chain 1 and 3 double crochets in that space, chain 1 again, 3 double crochets. I'm going to go around this all the way around, and then I will get back to you. Okay, now I've gone all the way around. All I need to do now, I've chained 1 after this cluster, and I'm going to join with the slip stitch in the top of the chain like so. Chain 1, pull it tight, and give it a little clip. It's also very helpful to have a really good pair of sharp scissors. Okay, now I'm ready to change to my yellow yarn, and I'm going to join in the corner over here. Okay, with a, let's get them both strands, slip stitch. I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and you know what to do. 2 double crochets for that first join, chain 2, because we are working in a corner, and then 3 more stitches, 3 more double crochets. That's what makes up each cluster. And go ahead and give this string a clip. Add to my pile there. Okay, chain 1 and 3 double crochets in that chain 1 space. Chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next. Okay, now I come to the next one where that strand is. Bring the strand over to like this and crochet right on top of it. If it's a little loose, you can always give it a tug. And you can crochet right on top of that knot. Okay, go ahead and clip that very carefully. Chain 1, we've come to a corner, so now we do 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. I'm going to go ahead and finish this round, and now I will show you the join. Okay, now I'm going to chain 1 at the very end here, join with this slip stitch at the top of that chain 3, slip stitch, chain 1, give it a tug, and clip it, pull it through. Okay, so this is what we have so far. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds. Now we just have 1 more round to go. So I'm going to go ahead and get the red, and you know the routine. I'm going to join it with the slip stitch in the corner, You can really join it anywhere, but I like to do the corners first. 1, 2, 3 chains. That's 1 double crochet. Pull some more yarn out here. 2 double crochets. Chain 2. 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and get rid of that strand like so. Pick up our hook again. Okay, now I'm going to chain 1 and 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, etc. Now look where we've come. Okay, so now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces with just the cluster, a single cluster, and then when we get to the corner, of course, we'll do a cluster, chain 2, and a cluster. And also don't forget to bring this over here when we get to this space and do our chain 3 double crochets on top of that. I'm going to go ahead and finish this last round, and I'll be right back. Okay, our 6 round square should be approximately 7 inches across, measuring it straight across, and our 3 round square should be approximately 3 3/4 of an inch. But again, this is not that important. I mean, these are going to fit rather loosely and comfortably anyway. So let's go ahead. And so what you need to do is you need to make 6 of these, the 3 round granny squares, and you need to make 2 of the 6 round granny squares. Okay, so once you get those together, go on to video number 2, and I'll show you how to put it all together. You're going to need a yarn needle for doing that. Okay, and I'm going to get me a yarn needle right here. You're going to need one of these, or a darning needle works as well. It's just a little sharper than probably what you need. All right, go ahead and get those materials and see me in video 2.